All right, meteorologist Jason Mikell joins us now. Jason, what have our temperatures been like this July? Are they around average, or what can you tell us?
I think we were talking about this earlier on in the week, Neil, when we look at sort of like, it seems as though we've had a really wet summer.
Okay.
But in the short term, it looks like we've just been having storm after storm after storm. We have to look at it in the long term, because once we wrap up July, and then we'll sort of like assess. But it is not to be lost on all of these extremes causing manic issues and even some financial issues all across the lower 48. And I'll talk to you about at least what feels like temperatures are like right now in New Orleans. People, you will not believe it. Currently, we are kind of smashed in between a couple frontal boundaries. That area low is still just meandering there. That frontal boundary over towards the north and west is expected to slide south and move into the region, but it will stall just as it's getting over towards Lake Erie. And what that will allow for is a manifestation of some particulates in the atmosphere. This begins tonight with this air quality warning through about Monday early morning hours. I think it's likely going to go until Sunday night at midnight, but I think it could likely be sort of transferred into the early start for us on Monday. So I'm not going to sort of take that off. I'm going to keep that on just for a precautionary measure. But anyone outside tomorrow that may be sensitive to some of these extra particulates like dust, maybe some sort of like, even we had on the 4th of July, some of that smoke could just kind of like smashed into the surface. This will pose a threat for you tomorrow if you have to be outside. And even idling your vehicle, waiting in the drive-through line at some of your fast food places, that also is going to be causing an issue for some of those people out there as well. Traffic, again, not that bad right now. We still have some slow areas in terms of the on-ramps and off-ramps due to some of that flooding and some of those bends. But radar has quieted down in a big way for us this Saturday night, which is great news for us. But we do still have a couple reports that came in from the earlier activity. One in Montrose, Ghent, as I was watching that around 3 p.m. this afternoon. We had a little bit of a sail that was moving through. Some trees were uprooted down in this area, and also up towards the north and east over near the Orwell area, which is where we broke in with our coverage earlier. A large tree branch has been snapped off along with some other branches in that area. So again, wind was a major threat today. This is a look back at the last 12 hours, and boy, oh boy, did we get a lot of rain in several areas. Again, that northeastern quadrant here, if we slice that down into 4 parts here in northeast Ohio, that's where the bulk of the rainfall has fallen across the day today. So we do have additional rain arriving. We'll have less rain arriving for us tomorrow, even more rain arriving for us on Monday afternoon with that frontal boundary finally getting its way through, and we could have at least an inch of rainfall in several locations. So we're going to prepare ourselves for that. We're currently at about 70 degrees here. Dew point temperatures are still elevated. We got a sort of a easterly wind coming on in because we're still on the east side of that area of low pressure. Temperatures are hanging out around 70 degrees right now. We'll slip maybe a couple degrees overnight tonight into the mid to upper 60s, but I will not hang my hat on that because we're going to keep the cloud cover around and likely a little bit of spotty shower activity as well. Tomorrow on the hour, we're going to clear our skies back, at least for some. We'll get a little bit more sunshine moving back in. Some 80s will pop here. I think we'll likely move into the mid 80s for several areas along and also south of the I-90 corridor. Your National Design Mart forecast, again, keeping the clouds around tonight. Temperatures elevated throughout the evening here. We clear those clouds out, at least for the most part, with that westerly wind coming on in. It'll offer a little bit of a refreshing cool down for us. It will likely stay in the upper 70s for some, but we'll pop back into the mid to low 80s once we get into the 3-4 p.m. time frame, which is the peak heat hours of the day. Sunday night into Monday, stable, okay? We have still a south wind coming on in. This is when the frontal boundary is expected to pass once we get into Monday afternoon, and I think we run the risk for some strong to severe thunderstorms. This drive at 5 on Monday will likely be a radar watch time frame for you if you're going to be coming home from the office, if you have to pick anybody up, maybe you got to do a grocery run. Please watch the radar on Monday evening. Temperatures, again, tomorrow likely pop into the mid 80s there. Heat index values, this is a major story for the lower 48. It feels like 102 degrees in New Orleans right now, and it's not even 10:30 down there. Still feels like nearly 100 degrees in Dallas. Vegas, 102. Tomorrow is likely supposed to be the hottest day on recorded record, likely to happen over in Death Valley. So I know a lot of people are going to be hanging out there. I wouldn't be doing that. Your Union Home Mortgage 7. Okay, we're going to keep it close on the 7-day forecast. Drying things out once the frontal boundary passes for us on Tuesday. Likely hanging out in the upper 70s. Not going to be that bad. It's actually going to be a really nice day. A shower threat to begin us on Wednesday. We're pop back into the mid 80s. Then there's another frontal boundary likely moving through towards the end of the week. Neil?
All right, thanks, Jason.